problems I had basically with getting the state card. Okay, so
because there's lines, they want to give you an appointment like 2 or 3 months out.
Well, I got around that part. If you're on food stamps and GR, the paperwork says something to the effect of if you have a drug problem or suspected of, then blah blah blah, you have to be in treatment to receive these low income whatever. If you're on Section 8 situation, you can lose that for having your weed card, and then you know about the gun situation where the stakeholders are getting the letters to use the gun. So I go to the AHF. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm supposed to, in theory, go through the doctor now instead of the weed card doctor. So let me try this out. She's pretty receptive to me. They give me dronabinol, they give me Megaze, and I don't like either one of those. And so I talked to her, and she's like, sure, I'll sign it. So she signs it. I take it all the way down to the Department of Public Health. They go, oh, she's not even the doctor. You have to be a doctor. I was like, she's a nurse practitioner. She's in charge of my HIV stuff. She's the doctor. They're like, no, that's not good enough. So I had to go all the way back to go to her boss. So then he's like, I don't believe in nothing about weed, blah, 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 blah. Basically like, no. And it was like one of these like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Like, they almost kicked me out of the whole like office program, facility, all that, right? Over the weed card thing. So it's like, there's a lot of drama dealing with that card. If you're in a low income situation, you're at risk to losing the only lifeline you have for food. You know, so here's what happens to me. When I don't have enough money, the first thing that goes for me is I start skipping meals. You know, I've been told different times over and over, oh, you will spend your last dollar on weed. And it's like, it's not really that I would spend the money on weed is the issue. The issue is I'm limited on my generating income ability. So I have to work within and I need to eat, or I'm going to start having the blood sugar issues, and my thinking's going to be all out of whack, and my sleeping gets all out of whack, and so it's like...
When you need the cannabis for your health.
I have to force myself to eat routinely to keep myself just going. You know, in my bag here, there's a bunch of little, like, snack bar things, because I have no appetite right now. You know, I got an ondansetron. It's like a really heavy nausea medicine. So works real quick and everything, and it's like that's it. It's like I have to balance this whole food, getting hungry. Okay, wake up in the day. Well, shit, I'm gonna need to eat pretty soon, or I'm gonna fuck that up. So I have to smoke right now to get ready to get an appetite going. And it's just like throughout the day, it's chasing this to chase that to chase this, just to get through the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so it's amazing that you have people like you doing this.
Well, we do it because it's so necessary. And that's why we've been going to all these BCC meetings. That's why we're calling senators and assembly people. It's because it's a life and death issue. You know?
I'm curious, can I ask how, because you're in LA and we're in the Bay Area, so how did you two connect in order to get the cannabis to him?
It had to be Dennis.
Well, Dennis brought everybody together. But we met at the BCC, the Bureau of Cannabis Control Committee meeting in Los Angeles.
Nice.
But we had already been going back and forth on Instagram.
Yeah, I had, so I don't watch TV, I don't read no newspapers. I go out and find people and ask them what the story is, what the deal is with you and this topic. Somehow, compassion programs was coming up on something I needed to try to look into for my own scenario. I was a patient of Moxie's program, and they were saying, hey, we're not going to have no problems with this new law thing, no worries, blah, 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 blah.
And they closed, right?
Christmas comes around, and they're like, oh, we got some issues we have to deal with. They get whatever sorted out between themselves, and then they tell me, hey, you have to have the little state card to be able to go for this next stage of whatever. And I'm like, oh, I just had a really bad issue trying to go through that, you know? And so the short version of that is I just didn't proceed with the next phase of being in their program. And so I'm like, what what is out there? What am I gonna do? Because I need to eat constantly, and I'm not so great at figuring out income. So somehow I saw that you were speaking out on it a lot about, hey, this big problem's kind of going on with the compassion area, and you were really involved with the organization of it to understand how it all plays out. And so I started paying attention to that. And so because like I don't watch the news or TV and all that stuff, it's important to me to take those stories, those situations, and share it to a whole group of other people that should know about it or are going to relate to it in different other kind of ways, some kind of way. And so that's how I started noticing about the sweet leaf thing. And then you started making the post about Dennis. And so it's like, you really should pay attention to people that are doing stuff for those type of reasons. And I kind of got issues with like, what is this life stuff? What's the point of it in doing anything? So when I see stuff like that, it kind of helps me kind of keep going a little bit for the next day.
For me, I feel like life is about helping other people and learning. You know, it's like learning is personal growth, and helping other people is being part of community and being this service to humanity. I mean, I feel like money and all that other stuff is just distractions. I don't want to be a billionaire.
I'm not good at figuring out money things. I just get to the end of the day and try to go to sleep, you know? So, but at the same time, when I was in school, I was real good at figuring out what test questions were. So I see certain things kind of pop out the same kind of way as information. It's like, I translate that into like, hey, this is an important issue, whatever the topic of the moment is, and you have like a responsibility with that information to share it with people that really need to hear it. You know, and with cannabis community industry stuff evolving, there's no weed TV shows, stuff like that. So it's
there's some, but they're all like
what's depending
online.
on whatever someone come up with and the effort they put into pushing it for other people to be aware of.
And usually, I feel like a lot of the weed TV shows are kind of like weed celebrities more than
hype machines. Yeah.
I didn't want to say it, but I think you might be onto something there. But yeah, you don't see a lot of like compassion represented, or But I feel like too, the people doing compassion, we're just out there doing the work. We're not really trying to get a lot of attention, or just trying to make the world a better place.
It's important to me that people understand that the medical stuff needs to be kept in mind because it's what made it all legal.
Oh yeah.
I see all these people in different areas like getting prepared for their new state's legalization thing, and they're chatter, and it's like none of them have a clue what made it happen.
Yeah. It was built on the backs of low-income, terminally ill patients, which was basically HIV, AIDS patients in San Francisco. That's what built this whole industry. That's what made the first medical marijuana laws. Dennis Perone and Brownie Mary in 1991 got a local law passed just in the city of San Francisco.
Prop P or M or W or something?
Yeah, I think it was Prop P, or it might have been Prop M. But then, 5 years later, they did the Compassionate Use Act, 96, and then that made it medical for the whole state. And now we see, there's over 30 states, something like that, in the country that have medical marijuana laws. And that's all built on Dennis Perone and compassionate cannabis for HIV/AIDS patients who are low income. That's how this whole movement started. And that's a tragedy with Proposition 64, is now anyone can go and be rec and buy some weed, but the people who really need it are being kept from it. And there's people like me and other compassion programs that
Madman's kicking out $82 eighths.
Wow. Yeah, I like kicking out half pounds for nothing. That's how we roll. Yeah, it's my place.
So, I guess while this is on, tell me a little bit about the idea you were talking about for LA with me.
Oh yeah, and I want to do a little video recording too. So I want to get Sweet Leaf going down in LA, And I feel like the first step that we want to do is start intaking patients with paperwork. And then when we get enough people, I can go to some of these dispensaries, much like I did with Magnolia, and be like, hey, can we do a distribution out of your space? And I already have contacts with like 2 or 3 different dispensaries in LA. And, I think that they would be willing to support, especially because as Sweetleaf, we get a bunch of donations from the Emerald Triangle. So they don't need to pay for anything. We get all the medicine. We do all the organizing. I wanted to hook you up with Meadow, because that's how I think we can start. Basically, we take a picture of all the paperwork, of the 4 different things: ID, letter of diagnosis of terminal illness, physician recommendation, and the letter from SSI or GA or SDI, basically saying that this patient is low income. And we take a picture of all 4 of those, and then we can upload it to Meadow. And so then it'll all be on Meadow, and when we go to the dispensary, I can be like, here's all the patients' names, here's all their information, and they can independently verify it. And, that's pretty much all they'll have to do is give us some space, independently verify the recommendations, and we'll do everything else.
Can you explain what Meadow is?
Meadow is like a tech platform, and so you can go on there and upload your physician's recommendation. But for us, you can only upload 1 PDF, and we need 4 different things for our program. And so we would need people to take 1 picture of all 4 of those things, so it's just 1 PDF,
Yes.
and then they can upload it to Meadow, which I think is like mdw.com. And and then we can start getting it going down there. Because I want to see Sweetleaf like all over the state. And I have so many contacts up in the Emerald Triangle that want to donate cannabis. Stuff that's a year old, they couldn't sell it, but it's still good. It's still chock full of cannabinoids. And people want it, people need it.
I saw that story. Was his name Ed? The video?
Yeah, Ed Gallagher.
The blind? Okay,
Yeah. He went blind due to his HIV. And now he's almost deaf as well.
I've had this for like 3 years approximately, and you have to read and hear all these different stories as you're going through this, and man, it's a gnarly thing that can happen to people.
Yeah.
Some of the pills can do some stuff too, and overall, I'm not having a lot of complications. I have a low energy level a lot, but I'm noticing the more I stay away from like GMO type of foods and try to eat like something that counts as like a real food, the better that I seem to feel like in my body. And so for me, with like the depression and anxiety and everything, the wind blows me just different ways. So I got to try to just stay on the basic stuff.
Yeah,
And,
whole food diet.
I saw the video about him talking about different stuff, and then he mentioned about how he needs to eat. I was like, I tell people I have to smoke to eat, and they just basically laugh at me. They're like, you're the next thing you'll be sucking dick for weed or something. Like that's kind of like the mentality.
People. Well, a lot of people don't understand a lot.